The Goblin's Christmas by Elizabeth Anderson. Once upon a time I visited Fairyland and spent a day in Goblin Town. The people there are much like ourselves, only they are very, very small and roguish. They play pranks on one another and have great fun. They're good-natured and jolly and rarely get angry. But if one does get angry, he quickly recovers his good nature and joins again in the sport. If a goblin should continue angry, he would take on some visible form. Perhaps he would become a toad or a squirrel or some other little animal and would have to live here in the earth plane forevermore. But if he keeps his good natured, he can come here and have his fun and not be seen by anyone except a seer or a very wise person. The goblins are gracious to the wise people now, but they were not always so. A long, long time ago, on a Christmas Eve, the fairy folk were having great sport. All the little people of the unseen world had gathered together in the earth realm. There were brownies and gnomes and elves, and even some little cherubs had joined the fun. They were having a wild dance in a gay time when who should appear but Kris Kringle? Now the fairies did not know that he was a magician or a seer, and so they tried to make sport of him. But Kris, by his wonderful magic, changed them into the most beautiful toys. They became straight little jumping jacks and dolls in bright dresses, and the dearest little rabbit with white soft fur. And somewhere in the bottom of the sleigh was one turned into a cute little teddy bear. Then old Kris tucked all those toys into his roomy sleigh and shook the reins of his waiting steed.
"Go on," he said, "for I have many a chimney to reach tonight."
Now this is the tale of the Goblin's Christmas that the moonbeam told as they heard it from the Fairy Queen, who declares that every word of it is perfectly true. The big bright moon hung high and round in a densely darkened sky. The tall pines swayed and mocked and groaned. The mountains grew so high that the man in the moon came out and said, "Ho! Spooks for a merry dance!" The winds blow hard, the caverns roar, while over the earth they prance. A witch and a goblin led the sprites. Out from the sky they sprung, and down the Milky Way they slid, and over a chasm swung. The streams around ran witch's broth, the fumes were strong and rank. These elven creatures all were wroth, while of the stuff they drank. And the cunning moon looked on and laughed with a shrill and sneering jibe. Her soul grew fat to see them chaff, this mad and elfish tribe. This big black cauldron boiled so high with food for these queer mites that it lit the world throughout the sky, and down came all the sprites. Their mad career upset a star. As through the air they flew, it cringed in fear and shot afar, and fell where no one knew. Orion's sword was broken bits, Corona's crown was gone, Capella seemed to lose her wits, while all so longed for dawn. Then from night there came a sound of sleigh bells ringing sweet. Out of the chaos came a man, Kris Kringle, for his Christmas treat.
"Oh, Kris," they cried, "we'll have some fun. We'll bind this old man down. We'll tie him up and toss him over into our Goblin Town."
They climbed the sleigh with shout and din to bind his hands and feet. 100 strong they clambered in, our good old Kris to meet. He sat quite still with twinkling eyes, then seized his mystic wand. He raised it up and waved it round. Stilled was the chattering band. Stiffly stark and still they stood, clad in elfish clothes. Some were wax and some were wood. One had crushed his nose.
"Playthings rare,"
he said and smiled,
"for children rich and poor. Some I'll leave the crippled child, and some at the orphan's door."
He shook his reins and called his steed to bear him swiftly on. Full well it knew its master's need to hurry ever the dawn. From house to house they scampered down, their sleigh bells ringing clear. Through chimneys in the sleepy town, good Chris and his reindeer